Hey everyone, Bruce Prince, Vice President of Sales for ProCut here. We're at the SEMA show 2021. Oh my God, does it feel great to be out and about and with our customers again in the field. Obviously, not everyone could join us at the show today, so we wanted to give you an opportunity to see some of the great stuff we brought here to the booth. I would be remiss if I didn't start what we're famous for, our on-car brake lathes, or as I like to refer to them, rotor matching systems. One of the really important aspects of doing the job and also ensuring customer satisfaction is making sure that lateral runout is minimized on a brake rotor when it's installed on a vehicle. Most people mistakenly believe that pulsation is caused by a warped brake rotor, and one of the reasons they feel that way is because when they have a pulsation problem and they think the rotor's warped, they'll replace it with a new rotor. The car will drive fine for a while, but the problem is it's not actually the rotor that's causing the problem. It's the wheel bearing and the rotor together and how they ride. And so what this machine does is not only is it super fast and easy to use as far as doing the job from a resurfacing standpoint, but it also matches the rotor to the vehicle, which is a very important component if you want to fix the car right the first time. As far as setup and use goes, the machine is very easy to use. In fact, we've broken it down into what we call the 3 C's. The 3 C's being first connecting the machine to your vehicle, and that's accomplished very simply by using a wheel or hub adapter that we have. We have 6 that fit most cars and trucks in the US. It slides on in place of where the vehicle's wheel mounts up. You secure it with the vehicle lug nuts. Next, I'm going to attach my machine to the adapter via the center drawbar here. It just screws right into the back of the adapter. Once I'm mounted, the machine has basically become a natural extension of this vehicle's hub. So anything that's going on in the wheel bearing is passing to the rotor, which passes to the adapter and comes to the machine. Once I've got the machine attached, I'm on to my next C, which is compensate the unit. This has always been where the rubber kind of hits the road when it comes to using an on-car lathe. One of the challenges has always been, from a technician standpoint, they want something that's simple and easy and is a process that doesn't require them to break a lot of sweat. With this machine, we've simplified the adjustment process into simply the push of a button. You push the button that says adjust. What happens is the computer takes over. The machine is now measuring the lateral movement. You can't really see it because we're talking a small amount. It's made a few adjustments. It's now giving us a green light. Green means go, so it's indicating we're ready to make our cut. So with that accomplished, we're on to the last C, which is cut. And again, we have a great cutting head design. Basically, we're capable of doing a one-pass finish cut. We'd simply feed our cutting head in. I'm not going to demonstrate it here today, but in the interest of time, but we could feed the cutting head in, set our depth of cut, make a single pass, and we're done. A ProCut machine can take up to 40 thousandths of material off a rotor in a single pass. But the important thing to note here is that basically we're not just machining the rotor, we're actually matching it to the vehicle. And again, that is critical if you want the parts in the braking system to wear to their normal service limits correctly. Run out is the culprit for most noise, judder problems, pulsation, all of that really just ties back into how these parts ride on the vehicle. And a ProCut on-car lathe is going to ensure that the car stops safely, smoothly, and all of the parts wear correctly so that you get a robust brake job. As far as the machine itself, really quickly, this is our new X9D model. One of the things that makes this machine really cool for us is that it's our new DC powered lathe. Traditionally, our standard units have had AC powered motors, which run at a continuous speed. With DC power, we have the ability to vary the RPM of the machine with our speed selector knob here. And one of the nice features about having variable speed is when you have traction control or other mitigating factors that you have to work around when you're in a shop environment, you can adjust the speed of the machine to help you adapt to the vehicle that you need to cut. But the other really big benefit of DC power is it's really smooth and quiet. And more importantly, when you vary the power setting on the machine, if you were to do that with an AC powered lathe that's designed to run at a continuous speed, you do that by reducing the power flowing to that electric motor. And when you do that, it reduces the torque at your spindle. With a DC powered machine, you can have it on the lowest setting or the highest RPM setting, and you won't lose any torque because it's always going to be continuous torque because it has a separate motor controller, and it ensures that you get a nice smooth cut every time. The other feature that's noteworthy on this machine is we have our X9 chassis. This machine, we worked with different schools and engineering firms to understand how vibration passes through the machine, and that's how we arrived at the design of our X chassis. Actually, you can see here, if I can get my cameraman to come in close, there's an actual X in the top of the machine, and it's not there for aesthetics. This design actually enhances how vibration can be dampened by the machine body itself. So there's actually, it looks like it's a tray for your spare change, but in reality, it's actually providing dampening. The last feature I would touch on is our new 1330 cutting head, or as we like to call it, our Performance Plus cutting head. Really nice design here. You've got multiple locking points to secure the cutting head, so very stable as far as a cutting platform. And it also has our new click detent knobs. So I'm a guy that's visually challenged because I have to wear glasses. So I find myself often squinting to look at my reference lines. Those days are no more because each time I advance the knob, it actually physically clicks. So I know that I'm adding some cut with each click, and I can basically determine it without having to look at the tiny reference lines. So all in all, great product. Rotor matching is, again, it's not just the resurfacing, it's the rotor matching that makes this product stand out. It's really our flagship machine and what we're known for. And it's the ProCut X9 depowered rotor matching system. Over here, we have one other machine I would love to show you. And this is our B17 Bench Lathe. Obviously, I was just a minute ago telling you how rotor matching is the way to really fix the vehicle right. So the first question we often get is, hey, Bruce, if on-car lathes are so important, why would you guys sell a non-on-car lathe or a bench lathe? And the answer to that is very simple. The one limitation that an on-car lathe has is that there's no way to cost-effectively equip it to turn a drum or service a drum. And one of the challenges we find with smaller independent shops is their budget only allows them to have a single brake lathe, and they want a brake lathe that can do both discs and drums. So we decided to get into this market. We built this machine here, which is the B17. I'll tell you a little bit about it in just a second, but one thing I do want to point out is you can see here we have this lovely P10 award that we picked up here at the SEMA show. We're very proud of it. It's an innovation award for our design. And that's one thing that I wanted to talk about really quickly is when we decided to get into this market, we knew there was a lot of competitive product out there. And so we decided that if we were going to design and build a bench model lathe, we needed to do it better than everybody else, and we needed to update the features and technology that's in the equipment to sort of bring it up to speed, because you haven't seen a lot of innovation when it comes to bench lathes, but that all changes right here with the B17. Now, some really quick things to point out. It's DC powered as well, just like the on-car lathe I showed you. So all the benefits of having DC power translate over to this lathe as well. In addition, we have variable speed on control, or on the fly control of both our feed rate and our speed settings. And one of the beautiful things about this, in fact, the lathe is running right now. It's so quiet. It's one of the amazing things about DC power. You can't even hear it operate. But there's no belts or anything to change over. It's just a super easy one-stop control panel that handles all the function and operation of this machine. It does have an emergency shut-off switch, and then of course I've got my power switch and my feed button as well. But one other nice thing is we've got our digital display here. It's our digital readout, as we call it. If I go into this mode here, basically I can set maintenance alerts so that when the machine hits a certain maintenance interval, it'll let you know. I can do a number of different features, but I can also look at my productivity. The machine will actually track how much it's used, like how long the motor runs, how many disc cuts it does, how many drum cuts it does. And that's really cool information, because any salesman can tell you a machine is productive in your shop environment, but with ProCut units, you can actually prove that or check on that anytime throughout the life or ownership of your product, because we capture that data real time for you. So in essence, you can go to your machine, pull the data out of it, go to our website, punch that data into our ROI calculator, and it'll tell you exactly how much profit you've made with the piece of equipment, which is a really cool feature. One of the next features that is innovative that we have in here is our tool table. Basically, we have our boring bar for drums, we have our disc cutter or twin cutter for discs. When it comes to changeover, there's usually time involved with traditional lathes. What we've done is we've made a one-piece tool table. So when I want to convert my machine from disc to drum, all I have to do is release the locking bar, pivot the plate into position, lock it down, and I'm done. Changeover is literally seconds with this machine compared to several minutes, depending on what kind of other machines you might be using out in the field. Another really nice feature about this tool table is it's intelligent. What do I mean by that? Well, very simply, it knows the orientation of the cutting head. So when, for instance, I'm in the drum configuration right now, if I engage the feed motor on the machine, my drum feed is advancing and my disc feed is locked out. Inversely, if I stop the feed and stop the machine, rotate back to a disc configuration, and I turn it on and I hit my feed mechanism, now my disc feed is turning, my drum feed is locked out. That's a neat feature because one of the complaints we heard about bench lathes in the field is that their feed screws strip out a lot. So the two ways we addressed that were we eliminated the chance for a cross-feed error from the operator forgetting to switch which way it was feeding. We made it automated. And secondly, the screws, we have DC-powered feed motors, and the feed screws that we use are double the tensile strength of any bench lathe on the market today. So, you know, virtually, I won't say any machine is completely indestructible, but you'd have to do a lot of things wrong to damage your B17. The nice thing too that's important to note about this cutting table is if you notice the cutting head looks familiar because it was like the one that was on our on-car lathe, that's because it is. We adopted our on-car cutting head technology to the bench lathe, and in essence what this twin cutter allows us to do is again complete a single pass or one pass finish cut on any rotor that we chalk up to the machine. So that's a neat feature there. I'll move on to our dust containment. You know, it's a small profile compared to standard units that you see out on competitive products. So it has a very small footprint. In fact, it doesn't take up a lot of room at all. There is a vacuum port on the back that allows you to eliminate all of your dust radius, so you can have this next to you know, sensitive equipment like a computer-driven aligner or something else like that. But the dust containment's really nice. It also keeps your machine really clean when you have it, and it keeps things quiet. So a nice add-on there. Additionally, if I go inside here on my arbor, we have also, this is exclusive to the B17, we have what's called a quick chuck nut, speed nut, I'm sorry. And what this allows us to do is, traditionally with a bench lathe, you're going to put a nut on the machine and thread it down with a wrench. With our quick nut, or our speed nut, I can slide all of my pieces onto the arbor. I slide the nut on, I simply turn it hand tight with my hand, no tools required, and I'm set up. When I need to come off the machine, I just release it and boom, my stuff comes off. So it speeds up the process of mounting everything. And again, that's an optional accessory as well. As far as surface finish goes, this machine is incredible. It's especially with disc cuts, it does an amazing job. It also comes with what looks like a tool cart on the surface, but it's actually a steel reinforced cabinet. The cart itself weighs about 500 pounds because it's got about another 500 pounds in bench lathe sitting on top of it. So it has to be rugged. But we have our drawers with all of our cones and adapters, so everything's neatly organized. It stays clean, unlike the old style where you had pegboards in the back and everything, where technicians would just sort of haphazardly hang stuff in the back. It comes fully equipped, out of the box, ready to work. It's a great product. My favorite feature of all, though, is because it's on a cart. Cart indicates that it rolls, and yes, it is the first bench lathe in the industry that is movable. In other words, if you go into a traditional shop that has a piece of bench brake service equipment, that's usually the dirtiest part of the shop because once it's installed, it can't be moved. It weighs 1,000 pounds, okay? So unless you have a forklift handy, it's not gonna be very movable. The B17 is on wheels, so if I need to clean behind it, I can simply roll it away from the wall, sweep. If I decide I want to change the layout of my shop, I can basically roll the lathe where I need it. It takes a little bit of back to move it, but the bottom line is it's on wheels. It's the first portable bench lathe that's out in the market. And yes, by the way, B17 is after the famous World War II bomber, the Flying Fortress. We like to bring a little bit of military aviation history into our products and in our marketing. But this machine really is a fortress in its own right. It's the B17 P10 Innovation Award winner here at the 2021 SEMA show. That wraps up everything I have to show you. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to watch this video. If you have any questions, you can reach us through our website, www.procutusa.com, or call us 800-543-6618, and we'll be glad to help you. We do product demos of all the equipment that you see here today in the field. Pick up the phone, give us a call. We'd love to work with you. Have a great day, folks. Appreciate it.